So I hate ramen. I can't even stand the smell. But let me explain. When I was very young, my parents used to feed me instant noodles like all the time. I loved the stuff. I couldn't get enough. In fact, up until a certain age, noodles, as far as my favorite food, was all that I could remember. But all that changed riding home one night. My stomach was feeling very weird and I got extremely nauseous. Right before we got home, I lost it. I threw up all over the back seat of my father's car. Now, of course, earlier that day, I had, you guessed it, a bowl of noodles. Now, here's what scarred me. The noodles looked exactly the same after they came up. They didn't look like they had been digested, chewed, or anything. It looked like someone just took a bowl of noodles and dumped them on the floor. After that experience, I never touched ramen or an instant noodle ever again until today. So finally, 30 years later, I am ready to try some ramen. That might seem like a long time to get over a traumatic experience, but we all heal differently. Also, my husband had been getting on to me about eating better. You gotta change your diet. You got lupus. Rah, rah, rah. And I know that ramen can be healthy if you do it right. I probably didn't do it right. So today we are trying a place called Ramen Legend. I decided to try their Cajun ramen. I removed the bean sprouts because that can cause flares in lupus patients, and I substituted the noodles with kale noodles. They had a nice and simple storefront, nothing fancy, perfect for takeout, not a large dining area. Now, let's get into this ramen. Now, it's pretty and all, but I was a little disappointed on the serving size of the sausage and shrimp. But I guess ramen is more focused on the noodles, which there were plenty of. Now, when I first opened the broth, it was very fragrant. It smelled like a seafood boil, a lot different from the ramen that I'm used to. And I have to admit, it became even more appetizing after I poured in the broth. So I got worried for a minute because after I added the broth, those kale noodles did not seem to be moving. They were very sticky, a little tough, and they just weren't pulling like I felt they should have been pulling. So I decided to microwave up some more broth and add it to the bowl. And that added heat and liquid seemed to do the trick because the noodles started pulling more easily. And I have to say, I was not mad at this dish. It really tasted like a seafood boil. Overall, I gave it a 7 out of 10. But what do you think? Is this a place that you would try? Let me know in the comments.